Hello! For my studio project I have looked into ancient Norwegian architecture. During my project I have chosen to focus on three main buildings who has had great importance to Norwegian culture and society through hundreds of years. These three buildings are a storehouse, a boathouse and a hunting cabin. I have chosen to try to replicate the basic building methods for these different types of buildings in my project and create them in a 3D environment. I started with sketching out rough sketches of how my buildings should look before modeling them in 3D. The first building is the storehouse, or stabbur as it is called in Norwegian. It is a traditional type of building found on almost every farm. Traditionally, the storehouse is 2 stories high. Despite this, all my buildings have an element of fantasy or exaggeration to them, in order to make the project unique and interesting. The storehouse I made therefore consists of 3 stories, making it look like a tall and majestic tower. All my buildings have tools and clutter scattered around in order to make the scene and environment look more alive and part of something bigger. Traditional storehouses are used to store food over the winter. It is important that no animals, such as mice, rats or other rodents get in. Thus storehouses are often suspended above the ground on pillars, making it inaccessible to animals. My second building is the boathouse, or naust as it is called in Norwegian. Boathouses are to be found everywhere around the long coastline and shores of Norway, and other countries for that matter. They are usually a place to store boats when not in the water and a place to repair and make adjustments to the boats. Since Norway has a rich and interesting history of whale hunting, I decided to mount a big mechanical harpoon on the roof of my boathouse. My third and final building is a hunting cabin. The Norwegians love to spend their weekends and vacations on cabins or cottages, on the mountains, in the forests or by the sea. The cabin in my project is created using the old tradition of kogging. Kogging, or lofting as it is called in Norwegian, is the building technique of stacking logs on top of each other. It results in a very isolated building, resistant to wind and cold. My hunting cabin has a huge scouting tower mounted on the roof. Usually, scouting towers are located in deep forests with view to open fields. I decided to mount the tower on the roof of my cabin to add to the sense of wonder and complexity my project tries to achieve. In addition to having modeled all these buildings in 3D, I decided I wanted to create a real-life model of one of the buildings. Of course, I could not make a full-size building, but I created a miniature model instead. It is created as close as the 3D model as possible, with some minor alterations to size proportions and color. It is made out of wood for the most part, glued and nailed together.